Hello, everybody. As was mentioned, so my name is Mārtiņš Mežulis. I formally work for Latvian MOD, that is Ministry of Defense. I am a civilian, sort of. So basically, my position is that of a civil servant, and has been for nearly 20 years now. I have started in MOD back in the end of 2005, I think. But in parallel to that, I have been part of Latvian National Guard. So basically, as a volunteer organization, many of you know here, and I've been part of it since 2000. So I'm old. I'm ancient. In that sense, I can say that truly I have seen, or I have had this opportunity to see the military environment from the both sides. So from the civilian side, where we are kind of managing and supervising what the military are doing in their development, and also from the tactical, especially from the tactical level. So basically, as a soldier, as a National Guardsman, sitting in the forest and whining why my boots are not as good as they should be, or things like that. Last 10 years, I've spent working with defense industry, with defense academia involved. So basically, my tasks were to develop a local defense ecosystem within the industry and defense academy. So from this perspective, from this background, I'm here to tell you a bit about the end user as a military establishment, and what you should take into account maybe when you are starting your work or starting to approach the defense market, and why we are as we are. And I will say still I'm thinking I'm definitely part of this market. So to start this, how is this important? So why do you have to learn your customer here, especially in defense market? First rule is nothing new. So basically, defense market operates in the same way, or the basic rules are the same as they are in a civilian or dual-use markets. You have to know your customer because you have to know their problems. So your product has to solve some problems and maybe not introduce the new ones. This last part, what I mentioned, is the most often repeated kind of mistake what we see, or just, no, in a sense, maybe not wished negligence, as we get offered a lot of really excellent solutions. They really do solve something, but really often we also get that we are struggling with introducing them. So in a sense, then your solution, what you're offering, it provides a customer not only with some kind of solves their problems, but also creates a new one. So you should try to avoid it and look into particular problems you're solving and trying to avoid the new ones appearing on the way. We are also a market with inherently limited customer base. So basically in Latvia, or if you would go somewhere outside, say within the European common market or within the NATO and globally as well, the customer base is inherently limited, and basically you could say it's armed forces, internal security forces, and maybe some special agencies who are allowed to operate. This is relevant especially for the what we would say hardcore military goods. Sometimes if you are in dual-use market, yes, you can. Maybe it's a bit wider, but mainly if you talk about really military goods, these say weapon systems, ammunition, or something like that, even command and control systems, then you have to take into account that you have inherently limited customer base. We're also a heavily regulated business area for the reasons I will mention a bit later. We have extreme compatibility and integration requirements. So it means the military, usually they like to work as a system of systems, so they say. So basically, everything you introduce into the military logistics system has to work with something else, or it has to be transportable by some other assets that the militaries have. It has to work with the same say programs, computer systems, and so on. So you have to take these things into account. We have extremely long-lasting product life cycles, so it wouldn't be surprising that when you introduce something into our daily use, 20, 30 years is pretty common. For some systems, historic systems, we can see, especially with our allies, 50 and 60 years, and that comes with its own kind of set of challenges. We have market, of course, with relatively high entry threshold because of all these above mentioned. So you have to have a pretty good build-up resources. That's financial resources, maybe also administrative resources, and patience. So basically, but once you are in, mostly companies are in to stay. And we have unique after-sales requirements, of course. The most common, I can say, is that you become, effectively, by selling something to us, effectively you become part of the state's defense system. So we want to keep you with us, partly at least, even when we have to go on our tasks, and hopefully those tasks are not fulfilling, but still we have to think about it. What's behind it? Really quickly on this one, the first one is logical. Of course, it's a state monopoly on violence. So the limited customer base is because that we as a society, of course, we do not want military goods floating around, outside the specialized either defense establishments or specialized security agencies. Our price of failure, more often than not, can be a potential loss of life or statehood. So we have to approach this very seriously, and say in Latvian case, it could be the same in Estonian and Finnish case, and in Lithuanian case, we have our freedom because of independence wars. So basically, whenever we prepare and we look at the products offered to us, this is one of the criteria, one of the main criteria why we have to be so peculiar, and why we have to go into the details and basically sometimes even annoy the innovators who come with their solution with maybe more kind of bureaucratic procedures and requirements. We are also very much part of the public administration. So basically anything we buy or the way how we interact with public and with the companies and academia, we have to observe the rules relevant to any other public institution. Mostly that reflects or is most noticeable with the procurement system. It was mentioned here today already by the other speakers. We are part of the alliance, so we have to train to fight together with our allies. So we need these standardization requirements, which are sometimes kind of counterintuitive if you speak about some kind of innovative solutions. We also have to operate well beyond acts of God. So if any of you who have signed a contract in a civilian life, you know that the contract, basically, you can step out of the contract or it's not valid due to some acts of God, as they say in Anglophone world, but when one of those is war, basically. In our case, that's when we step in, we have to start to operate. That's why we are how we are. And we are conservative by design. What I mean by that, and I have heard it more than a couple of times today mentioned as well, that the military are conservative. It's not a bad thing all the time. Mainly it's because we are training and we are training our people, as I said, to step in, and be in a harm's way. To do that, psychologically even, you have to build a certain ethos. So this ethos is built around the history, around reliable procedures and systems, and that's why it's sometimes really hard to introduce something new. But there is a good reason behind it. And the last one, basically how to get to this end user. So once you have contemplated maybe all of these challenges first, and I would say these days in Baltics especially, and in a wider Nordics, Baltic Sea region, Poland as well, probably become one. You can become a member of National Guard. You can pass the reserve soldier courses. I'm speaking on the Latvian examples, but I'm sure we have similar opportunities in other countries. Encourage others to do the same. So once you are in, even at the tactical level, I have seen it in my projects, the projects I was managing, and when working with defense innovators, if they are themselves, these at least the part-time soldiers, citizen soldiers, they understand this much better. They understand the basics, at least, how we operate, and the projects then are success more often than not. Look around yourself. So basically, maybe within your friend circle, maybe within your company, if you have a larger company, you might have these National Guardsmen, or you might have somebody with a military experience. Again, we have had this example here today. Reserve soldiers. So basically, somebody who has served, I would suggest that you do try to find them and employ them. B2B networking works. I have seen as well multiple times repeating this factor. So basically, if you have some friendly business partners, or you have some other companies, or events like this where you can meet up and share experiences, share contacts even, share maybe things what not to do, bad experience, that definitely works. Industrial NGOs work, so it's basically the same as B2B, but basically become a part of one, because also from our experience and our regulation even part, it's more often we can address industrial NGOs and share the information with them, disseminate the information a bit more freely than it would be with, say, a standalone company or standalone university. Explore existing armed forces and MOD engagement opportunities. If you could just go now to the Latvian MOD's webpage, you can see a whole part dedicated to the companies, and you can get the contacts. You can apply for the grant systems, mechanisms. You can apply for even consultations if you wish. I just encourage you to do that. And first, and last one, with all of that, be perseverant. I've seen many times as well when, for instance, if even you fail on the first time, you don't get the contact or something. If you repeat it, more often than not, you will be successful. So officially or unofficially, the contacts are available. I encourage also, you can look up my contacts if need be, and try to contact me if you have any questions, or any of my other colleagues participating here. And the last one to finish with, keep in mind that sometimes adapting innovation in military manifests itself in a mysterious way. I don't know if you know the punchline here, but basically it's what I mentioned about integration. So the first picture is from roughly, I think it's from Finland and continuation war, so around the Second World War time, with a very innovative anti-tank weapon, but it's carried by not so innovative, and nothing changes. Now you can see here a donkey carrying electronic warfare equipment in Ukraine, and donkeys are at the moment employed by the armed forces of Russian Federation. So it's kind of innovation, but it not always works. But if it works, it's kind of a joke, but it's not a joke. If it works, then it's not, simply said, not stupid. Thank you. If you have any questions.
Thank you so much.